Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Elise Reads and Speaks. Today I am bringing you my May wrap-up. Yes, you heard me right. My May wrap-up. Dude, I know it's July. Don't come at me. It is my May wrap-up because I never got around to filming it. I read 18 books in the month of May. However, I've already talked about 6 of them because 6 of them were the books that my book club picked out for me, and I have a whole vlog about them. So I'm not going to talk about those ones. If you want to hear about those ones, you can go and watch that video, which I will link below. But I will talk about the 12 others that I did read that month. So at the beginning of the month, I read Violet and Daisy by Sarah Miller. This was an arc that I had from NetGalley, and I just wanted something a little different, and this is a story about conjoined twins that were the stars of vaudeville for a while. And honestly, like, the beginning of the story was interesting as far as them being brought up by somebody that didn't really care about them and really saw them as like a cash cow. But then as their life went on, like, honestly, the story got boring because there wasn't a lot to tell. So it's like, it's not their fault because, you know, it's their lives, I understand. But also I feel like the author should have seen that there just wasn't enough in their lives to constitute writing an entire book about it. I don't know, it really bored me towards the end, so I only gave it 2 stars. Then I read The Silent Suspect by Nell Pattison. This was another arc that I had from NetGalley. It is the 3rd book in the Paige Northwood series, and this is Paige Northwood. She's an interpreter, a deaf interpreter, and she works with the FBI when there is a case in the deaf community to help interpret what happened. I really like this series in general because I feel like it brings a lot of agency to the deaf community. Like, it shows that, you know, they're capable and they have their own community, but like it doesn't make them any different from us just because the fact that they can't hear. Like, I don't know, I've taken a lot of ASL courses and I'm a speech language pathologist, so I feel like I've learned a lot about the deaf community, and I feel like this series in general just kind of portrays them in a really realistic light. I like it. I like it a lot. As for the story itself, the cases, like, they do keep me guessing. You know, sometimes I'm like, oh, did this person do it? But what was that person doing there? And I feel like because my mind is jumping around a lot, I feel like they're good mysteries. I mean, honestly, you don't need to read them from the beginning because it's like Law and Order SVU. You just jump into any episode and you're fine. But there is some backstory with Paige as far as her relationships go, which I would suggest going back and reading the other ones so you know how that relationship is going and why you might be rooting for the other guy instead. But honestly, I've really been enjoying them. I gave that one 4 stars, and I'll definitely go on to the next ones. Then I read another arc that I had from NetGalley. This was Sex, Love, and Marriage in the Elizabethan Age by R.E. Pritchard. I gave it 1 star. Dude, I can't believe that a book that literally has the word sex in the title was so freaking boring. Like, oh man, it was just accounts of people, and like, not even really accounts from people from that time. Like, it even gave like passages from different books or from different poems to show how like sex and love was in that time period. Like, I don't know. I feel like, you know, if somebody took pages of 50 Shades of Grey right now and wrote about us in 50 years, that doesn't really encapsulate like what sex and love was like in our time period, you know? I don't know, I felt like I didn't get anything out of it. I was incredibly bored and I was like pissed off that that wasn't what I wanted, so I gave it 1 star. Then I read a middle grade. This one was A Snicker of Magic by Natalie Lloyd. Oh man. Okay, so I listened to the audiobook of this one, and I was excited to listen to the audiobook because the narrator was Cassandra Morris, who narrated the Pretty Little Liars books, and I really like her voices. Like, I enjoy listening to her, and I thought I'd enjoy this book. Oh, this book was really, really middle grade. Like, I like middle grades, and I like throwing myself into them. Like, I don't know, I'm not one of those people that's like, middle grade, there's no sex in it, you know? Like, I really enjoy diving deep into a middle grade story, and this one just, yeah. They said the word spin diddly so many times. Oh man, I wanted to like reach my hand through my headset and strangle her so that she wouldn't say it anymore. It was just, this is not a middle grade that I would recommend. I gave it 2 stars. I didn't outwardly hate it, so I didn't give it 1 because like the story was okay, but man, this is just not one of those middle grades I'll write home about. But in a complete opposite turn of events, I read The Last Fallen Star by Graci, and this middle grade I gave 5 stars. Oh my gosh, I loved it. This is under the Rick Riordan Presents label, so I feel like Rick Riordan really tries to put his label on things that would appeal to the audience of Percy Jackson. And man, he got me. He totally got me with this one. This one is about like Korean lore, Korean witchcraft. And oh my gosh, it was so interesting. It was like I finished the book and I was inspired to go read up on this lore because I found it so interesting. The characters were cool. The situations that they found themselves in were cool. Like, oh man, I don't even want to tell you a lot about it because I just want to say, if you enjoy Percy Jackson, and you like the middle grade story there, you like the friendships, you like the shenanigans they get into, try The Last Fallen Star. I can't wait to read the next one in that series. Next, I listened to the audiobook of The Lake by Natasha Preston. This one I gave 3 stars. It was a middle of the road book for me. Like the story held my attention and I wanted to know what happened next. But then when I got to the end of the book, it was kind of like, okay, like some things required a bigger suspension of disbelief than I was willing to give, all right? Because it's about these 2 camp counselors that were invited back to camp to be counselors a couple years after that they were there. And when they were there years ago, you know, they did something that was not very nice and somebody's out to get them, okay? You know, it happens. That's like a common theme in these camp stories. They're invited back to camp because somebody knows what they did one summer, you know? I like it. I read a lot of those stories because I think they're fun. And this one was fun. It passed the time just fine. Not anything memorable though. 3 stars. Then I read my arc of Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. And this one was a highly deserving 1 star. Oh man, I hated this one. Like, hated with a passion. Okay, let me explain why. So this story was kind of pitched that this girl lived in a society that was closed off from the rest of the world, and she decides to break free from them and while she's pregnant and has her like twins in the wilderness, okay? So the vibes that I got from the blurb was kind of like The Village by M. Night Shyamalan, like the society's trying to keep her there because she means something to them. They don't want her to go to the outside world and discover what's out there. Like, that's what I got from the blurb. What I got from the story, like, it was so freaking bizarre. Like, something happened where she has this growth that starts getting bigger and bigger, and they described it as fruiting, and oh my god, like I thought I was gonna vomit. Okay, because all I can picture is this like big mushroom that's sprouting out of her back with mystical powers that's just somehow taking over her, and they described her skin as like getting rock hard because of the fruiting growth. Oh god, it's disgusting. All right, I am not into body horror of any kind, and we kept hearing about the fruiting, and I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But I did, because I did not want a DNF because it was an arc that I had from NetGalley, so I did finish it, but oh boy, 1 star, hated the story, couldn't even really get into the story because of the fruiting growth, and that's all I got from it. Oh god. Then I read my arc of Counting Down With You by Tashie Bhuiyan, and this one just did not hit the mark for me. I feel like it tried very hard to be to all the boys that I've loved before, and it was very phony feeling. Like, this girl's parents go away for 3 weeks, all right? So they leave her alone because, you know, very trustworthy, good student. And during these 3 weeks, she is fake dating this guy, and they're counting down the days until her parents get back. You know what's gonna happen in a story like this? Like, they're gonna fall in love and it's gonna go past those 3 weeks, okay? Like, that's what happens in YA stories. I'm not ruining anything because you know exactly what's gonna happen when you're going into it. It's just that this story in general was just really cheesy. Like, I felt my face cringing sometimes as I read. Like, do you ever feel your face do something, all right, and you're not in control of it, but you could feel it do that anyway? I felt like as I was reading sometimes my face would go. And I couldn't control it because it was just the cheese that I was reading on the page. It was just very phony. I believe this was the author's debut, and I don't like to slam debuts because I want you to keep writing, and hopefully you keep writing, hopefully you just keep writing something better. Next, I listened to the audiobook of Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Listen, I know that I just said audiobook and I'm holding a physical book, but you know what? It became available in the library and I had things to do, so I listened to the audiobook instead. So this one was just a middle of the road for me. I am really into King Arthur and that whole story, all right? I like Guinevere getting with Lancelot and running away, like all that stuff. I'm very heavily into the lore, so I was excited to read about this like legend passed down, like King Arthur actually had descendants and they're a secret society at a college campus. Like, I think that is such a cool story. I felt like it didn't fully pull me in. There were parts that I liked and then parts that would just lose me and I'd tune out. And then as soon as a part that I liked would pull me back in, I was like, okay, maybe I do like this. And then it would lose me again. So I feel like I can't give it higher than 3 stars. The thing I will say about this one is that if you are like me and you live in North Carolina, this takes place in North Carolina. So you'll hear some things and be like, oh, I've been there. Oh, I know where that is. Oh, that was a long travel because that's here to there. And like, I think it was cool to hear about the King Arthur legend taking place in North Carolina. So that was pretty cool to me. But the story itself, it was just so-so, and I really don't think I'll go on to the next one. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Initial Insult by Mindy McGinnis. This was weird. This was a weird book. Okay, so this author also wrote The Female of the Species, and I was really into that one. I remember finishing that one and being like, I feel like I just read something really important, and I can't put words to why it was important, but it just was. This one I finished, and I was like, that's freaking weird, man. Yeah, that was strange. Okay. And then I realized afterwards that she like drew inspiration from Edgar Allan Poe. I am not that familiar with Poe, so I don't know like which work or poem or story that she took it from, or if one closely aligns with this. I have no idea. All I know is that she got inspiration, and then I was like, oh, well, he's weird and this is weird, so I guess that makes sense. So I'll say like the story, I did pay attention, like it held my attention all the way through. So I'm not going to give it less than 3 stars because it had me. It ended and I was like, okay, well, that's done, you know? So I feel like I can't give it higher than 3 stars because of that. All right. So it like wasn't bad. Definitely wasn't great. I'm honestly not sure if I'd recommend this to anyone because it was just strange. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Secret of Whitestone Gate by Julia Noble. This is the second book in the Black Hollow Lane series. I think it's Black Hollow Lane. I'll put a picture if I'm wrong. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you a lot about the story since it's the second book in a series, but I really like this one. I actually liked it more than the first one, so I gave it 4 stars. I'm pretty sure the first one I gave 3 stars, like rounded down from 3.5 or something like that. But this one I was more into, and it's a middle grade mystery series, and I felt like they just did it right. Like, I want to know what happens next with this society, and I was totally into it. Again, I'm not going to give you a lot since it's the second book in a series and I don't want to spoil anything, but if you're looking for a fun middle grade series to pick up that centers around a mystery, try this one out. And the last book that I read in the month of May was The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This one I gave 4 stars. I really thought this was cute. I was totally into it. The protagonist is a single mom who goes on this dating site and gets matched with the creator of the dating site, and she's convinced that she'll hate him because he's very standoffish and whatnot, kind of like a Mr. Darcy figure, if you will. So, you know, they decide to date anyway because the app says that they should, and you know what's gonna happen because this is a romance book, okay? You pick up a romance book because you want to read about romance. So this is a romance that happens in the romance book, and it was really cute. I was into it. The end took a turn that I did not see coming, so I enjoyed that. I didn't think it was completely predictable, and I feel like this was on par with their Unhoneymooners. Like, I gave Unhoneymooners 4 stars. I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for an adult romance to just pass your summer pool time with, try this one because I was pleasantly surprised. All right, so those are all the books that I read in the month of May. 18 bucks. I thought I did pretty well. And thank you for tuning in to my May wrap up in the month of July. You are the real MVP. All right, that's all that I got for you today. Thank you for tuning in to Elise Reads and Speaks, and I will catch you next time, guys. Bye.